Champion versus Dan, who is struggling. He is a very confident young man in his Hearthstone career. He's like a little Hello Leroy, I feel. Let's have a look and see what classes they're bringing to the table then. Rogue banned on both sides, which you'll be very happy about, Neil, of course. Rogue is always banned in the Premiership. That's how it's been for the past couple of weeks. People like to get rid of it. Priest, Mage, and Druid is left for Dan, and Druid, Paladin, and Priest for Greensheep. Now, of course, we touched upon it slightly. I get my pen back? Thanks. All right, okay. We touched upon it slightly in the last series about Greensheep being a fairly aggressive player.
Right. Yeah, he has always played aggro decks since the dawn of time. We said that.
Since the dawn of time.
Went to the finals last time. Knew that everybody thought that. I can't set the stage enough. Like, every single time he's played leagues, every single time he's played finals, he's gone, people will change because they think I'll change. And they never, ever change. And for the first time ever, he changed. And for the first time ever, everybody else changed. So he just got it dead right and won the event pretty much as a canter. I think as soon as we saw the lineups, I think as soon as we saw the first Jade Blossom in like game 1 when it wasn't aggro Druid, the whole crowd just went, oh, yeah. Except the crowd was far more excitable than me. And
thankfully, if there was a crowd of Lorendas at any event, I would be there.
Get him off!
Yeah.
Yeah, and he won it really easily. Dan from Barrage.
Yes.
As is Lemon, who we're seeing later.
Yes, both from Barrage.
Greensheep's next champion.
Well, there we go.
As is Jumbre, who we're seeing later.
Both with their backs against the wall, the Barrage boys. And Dan actually making a conscious decision not to be on webcam this week. He felt like last week he was acting up too much to the camera.
Right, he tried to play the big boy games with Hello Leroy.
He did. He played against the most webcam-y person possible.
Saw Amnesiac try to out-banana Sifka.
Yes.
And he got slaughtered when he did that.
He did.
We saw Dan try to out-Leroy. You don't take someone on their home turf in this sort of industry. It just doesn't work.
Definitely doesn't work. We are going to see Big Priest for Greensheep going up against Druid. Now, there it is. There is Barnes, and there is a Shadow Essence. Two big cards in this, well, not just this matchup, but just for this deck in general. Now, would you class this as an aggro deck? Because in some ways, it is.
No.
No?
It's just...
It's a weird one, right? It's like a...
The unprofessional term is a high roll deck.
Yeah. Is it unprofessional? I mean, it's a completely honest term.
Yeah. Okay, so, thing I did earlier, because I was preparing for Jumbre's match, actually, but it's happened exactly here with Greensheep. There's certain websites you can go to that give you the meta game and give you how good a deck is against the meta. And one of those sites lets you eliminate a deck and then recalculates everything. And if you eliminate Rogue, the 3 that come up are Big Priest, Big Druid, and Paladin. Sheep is playing Priest, Paladin, and Druid.
Ooh.
And he's banned the Rogue. And we're seeing the Big Priest. So I wonder if we're going to get a Big Druid to go alongside it.
Darok was certainly expecting a lot of Big Druid last week, and we didn't see it. That was his call of the week, so maybe we're going to see it this week. Maybe it's going to turn.
He'll get the hang of it.
Yeah, he'll get there. You know, he's new to the Premiership.
Hi, Darok. How you doing, man? Hope you're having a good rest. So, Dan's here. Got to get on with it. The reason that the Druid cannot... Well, he's not big favourite, he's not at all favourite in this matchup, is because it cannot deal with the onslaught that the Big Priest makes. And the downside is you have to start... You can't just let an Asira sit chilling on the table. It doesn't work out well for you.
And actually, the Emerald Drake might be an important drop for Greensheep here, because it's something else that's big that he can put on the board straight away before his Shadow Essence comes out.
Yeah, it's just going to bridge that gap into turn 6 very nicely, and just Dan's going to have a lot of trouble. And again, this is 3 damage that he would like to have stuck in the face that he just cannot.
Does that change things ever so slightly? It is tempting to get rid of the 3/6 so very easily.
Yeah, and you can Shadow Word Pain, bump into the 3/2, and still have the Emerald Drake for turn 7. Your Shadow Essence still comes down next turn, you're still good.
Yeah, you can heal up your Barnes as well.
Yeah.
Barnes was one of my favourite cards when it was released. I actually crafted it in golden straight away. Now I have to play games looking like that kind of guy. Yeah?
High roll guy.
Yeah. That guy who's just got Barnes in golden because he just turns up to every game hoping to get him on turn 4.
Hang on. You look like what you are.
Yeah.
Exactly. Something else I want to say about Greensheep is that he's always complained, not complained, but he's always felt he's not so good in league formats as in tournament formats.
Okay.
Because he doesn't feel that he's so good at preparing 1-for-1 as preparing for a field en masse.
Yep.
So he has actually got a losing record in Premiership league stages.
Oh, wow.
But when he gets to the knockout stage, he just won it the first time he got there. And he's likely to get there again at some point, possibly even this time if he wins these next 2 matches. And he's much more fearsome in the knockout stages.
It is a very good point to bring up as well. It is a very unique format, playing Swiss across several weeks with different decks and meta changes. New cards are added here and there. We've had patches that have, not the card patches, but patches that have come out mid-season, for example. So,
well, we've got a new card today.
We did get a new card. Yesterday we got it, actually. Wait.
And Marin.
Marin the Fox.
Do you play with sounds on? Because I turn them off. Of course, I'm sort of old, maybe take me and stuff.
I play with them like at a minimal level.
So what does the Fox say?
Yeah, that tickled me. All right.
Okay.
I'll give you one.
Yes, got a bing.
You get a bing for that. A bing and a bong. And Greensheep getting Yashraj is always huge, no matter if you're playing Shadow Essence or Barnes. Getting something that could bring out one of these big minions is absolutely massive. And the only way Dan can counter that is by playing his ultimate infestation. But things are already looking fairly scary. I guess the only upside for Dan is we're not seeing anything that can resurrect these minions just yet.
Yeah, Greensheep's going to have just that, just the free from Amber, and then 2 more draws before then as well. Emerald Drake into free from Amber. He's got plenty of time, and Dan's isn't able to really generate a threat. And I wonder if this is why we are seeing people play just a little bit more aggressively in Druid recently. With Savage Draw, for instance. Just that little extra option to get through these situations, because Dan's is just going to struggle otherwise.
Dan opting to get rid of his coin there as well, just because he doesn't want to overdraw. So clearly worried about losing something in his deck. I'm trying to work out what he's scared of losing, but Pint-sized Potion now could be used if you want to clear something comfortably.
Still playing the pint size, by the way, again. I'll do it myself.
Yeah.
Save you the effort.
Darrock won't be happy.
Why not?
You're touching my belt.
Oh, yeah. Well, don't tell him.
I won't.
So, yeah, Greensheep sort of self-confessed not the best at this pre-step, by the way, as well.
Really?
Oh, I just give up.
That was a little tiny one. You get a tiny ding for your tiny, by the way. Why? Okay, what did he say? Is this on Twitter that he said this?
No, I watched him. He finally played against Duncan, actually. Went to 2-2, and it was Priest versus Priest.
Yeah.
And Greensheep did some things that were interesting in caster speak. They seemed kind of bad.
Okay.
And so we asked him basically, like, did you do this, this, and this? He goes, I just didn't understand the matchup.
Was this
now, he's had like 3 or 4 weeks to improve since then.
Is this WESG?
Yeah, it was. It was the finals.
Did he win?
He won that.
Okay,
Beat
so
Duncan in the final.
Nice.
That's what I say. Duncan's had a bit of a
rough
time.
That's a rough few weeks going out of the
Greensheep always gets it done. He's a guy that we always sort of write off, he does this, or he doesn't know this, you know, like I was just doing, or whatever, blah, blah, blah. He just wins anyway, so often.
Speaking of winning, how does Dan win this game? I guess it's by contesting the large board that Greensheep is putting on this board with his own large board, right?
I mean, he could run Greensheep out of big threats.
Yes.
It sounds laughable. But Jades are big things. They can trade 1-for-1 or 2-for-1 with big threats, and they're infinite. Whereas Greensheep's big threats are kind of not so infinite because they actually run out. That's kind of how infinite is described.
Yes.
So if Dan's find a way just to trade until Greensheep runs out of stuff, maybe he can win the game that way.
Maybe.
I'm going with maybe.
Yeah, I think a maybe is a good way of putting it because it's still going to be a bit of a stretch. Pint-sized Potion plus Shadow Word Horror. Looks quite nice here. And by quite nice, I mean it looks bloody great.
It does look kind of reasonable.
Yeah. I mean, you can do that, and then you can just heal up.
I wonder if Greensheep's thinking a little bit about what I was saying there. Not because he could hear, but maybe he's got the same thoughts going on, in that, actually, if I do that and just slap my opponent for 13 a couple of times, he doesn't ever run me out of resources because he's dead.
It's certainly something you do have to consider at all times, is how... I mean, even though Greensheep is very much in the driving seat, he still has to be thinking about maybe not how he wins the game, but how he loses this game.
Right.
That's a very important question you do have to ask yourself sometimes when you're playing Hearthstone. Because I have seen games in positions where you're going to win, get thrown away. Actually, last week, Dan against Hello Leroy was in pretty much a winning position, and he decided to take face damage rather than ignoring it just behind taunts. And Hello Leroy top-decked a Soulfire to win the game.
Was Dan playing to the camera at the time? Serious question.
Probably, yeah. He was on camera against Hello Leroy.
And he was like trying to take Leroy on.
Yeah, he was.
The meme war.
Yeah, he was raising a few eyebrows, being a little bit, you know, hipster. A little bit.
Because
cool.
Leroy lost one the season before like that, where he was writing messages on pieces of paper saying sorry.
Well, he got his speech bubble out, didn't he?
Yeah, he said
got
sorry
that again last week.
Did he?
After he won. So after he won
That's
the game,
different, right? If you want to, yeah.
He didn't. Leroy was actually pretty quiet. He did take a while. He was a little bit BM when he won the game. Like, he went off and poured himself a drink and came back. It was hilarious. But either way, we'll get back to this one as Dan
there's a game on, yeah.
has learned his lesson and is off webcam this time. I think it should be a player obligation to stay on webcam.
I agree entirely.
It keeps me happy. And when you get to the live finals, you can't just say, well, no, I don't want to be seen by my opponent. I'm going to sit in the other room.
I tell you what, if somebody tries that, it would be Dan.
It probably would be Dan. He's the type of player, right, that would say, no, actually, I want to be under the desk for this game. And you'll be like, what? Like, yeah, I just feel more comfortable there.
Yeah, I'm sitting on the floor and I can't reach the computer, so move it. Dan, we make you out to be the bad boy a little bit, but we need a bad boy, and Dan's it.
We do, and there are a few members in the community that do want to be portrayed as this bad boy. George C, the same. Really nice guy, but likes to be portrayed as a bad guy.
George forces it a bit.
Yeah, he does.
Dan just does it a little bit more naturally.
Yeah, it's just a little bit nasty. Well, the choices are for Greensheep here then, off. Okay. I mean, the Obsidian statue is hard to ignore.
I mean, you put it in your deck to start with, so you might as well have a free one. Well, reduced by 1 mana one, with no battle cry. Yeah. Because it doesn't have that.
No. Free from Amber is, again, I mean, I don't remember seeing it in all of the Big Priests that I saw back in the day. Because Big Priest
no, it definitely wasn't.
Has gone out of circulation and then come back once again.
I do wonder if it is because it runs out of threats so easily, people just felt the need, especially as people adjust to playing to a deck and they start, hang on, I can run this out of threats.
Yeah.
Add another threat. We saw it with the Giant Wasp. Rogue was losing to Priest, they added more threats, so Priest has added more answers.
And it's whether it's what it's replaced as well. Has it replaced something like Lich King? I don't think it would replace Lich King, because Lich King is another one of those cards that you can get off Barnes and it can generate you an important card.
Yeah, you'd think something like Greater Healing Potion, but we can see it's not that. Maybe a Shadow Word Pain bumping around, but again, that's crazy. But if you've got loads of Potions of Madness and Shadow Word Deaths and Dragonfires, maybe you don't need all the Shadow Word Pains. Who knows? Oh, I'll tell you who knows. Greensheep knows.
I'd like to think so. It's very interesting what you brought up earlier, though, about the deck selections and whether he has gone for that kind of method. It does always intrigue me how players prepare for a tournament, especially when it's a format like this and you have to prepare weekly.
I mean, Leroy, we talk about Leroy a lot because he's one of the most colourful characters, but I mean, he's shown us folders and folders full of research on players. And I mean, he must spend ages on research on players. He's a lunatic.
He is an absolute madman.
But it worked for him. I mean, his record in the league stages, just talk about Leroy for a minute while this is going on, of course, why not, is 15 wins and 5 losses.
Blimey. That's pretty good.
Yeah, we won't talk about his record in the playoff stages.
No, no. A lot of photos of his head in his hands when it comes to finals. If he gets to finals.
He's 2-1. He's looking good for it again.
We will see.
That would be 4 in a row.
He didn't get to finals last time.
He got to the top 8, which would count as finals, kind of.
Yeah.
Counts as elimination stages.
Yeah.
And one day, he will win a match there.
Now back to decision-making for Greensheep then. Roping out, because this isn't actually as comfortable as it would look, because those 2 6s are a bit of a nuisance.
Yeah, I like the way, I've said this many times, unfortunately, but for those who haven't heard me say it before, I like the way that minion combat with high health minions works out, in that you don't just have one turn at it.
Yep.
You have to work out what you want to do next turn, what to heal, what to put the damage on, etc. And you can't just sit there looking at each other, because one of you's got to have the advantage. Unless it's like a Tar Creeper, then obviously you do sit there looking at each other. A bit like me and you.
Who's the Tar Creeper?
We're both targeting.
Okay.
We just sit there looking at each other.
Staring at each other.
Both powerless to do anything useful.
Just occasionally raising our attack value. With like an eyebrow raise or a... Yeah. Or like a flex of a muscle. I'm
so glad the camera's not on us right now.
And now for Dan, like we were saying earlier, this is Greensheep's game, right? And he was in the driving seat. But Dan has managed to keep this fairly competitive. The only bad thing for him is he hasn't been able to generate any Jades. Not really. He can't be putting something massive on the board just yet.
Right. But yeah, you're right. He's managed to deal with every threat that's been thrown at him, and he's not currently facing down any sort of death anytime soon. Of course, there's so many cards in Greensheep's deck that can change that. But just for now, it's all looking okay.
He wants to start putting these Jades on the board now.
And Sheep doesn't have a threat in hand.
Yeah, and this is the thing, he hasn't been able to revive those big minions that have been dying.
The Lich King.
That's a threat.
That is a threat.
Although, somewhat, I think, more disappointing than we expected when it was released. When it was released, everyone thought this card was going to be absolutely crazy, and it was put in every single deck.
Yeah, disappointing is an interesting word, though. I'd say I'm really happy about it.
Yeah, okay.
We were terrified that this card was going to break the meta.
Yeah.
But it turns out that it only breaks the meta when you forget about it.
Yes. As long as you can remove it, then usually you're in a... It's a little bit like your Zero, right? It can do a little bit of damage if it's on the board. Now Dan does have the tools to start combating this large board from Greensheep with a even larger board himself. Key factor is going to be getting those Jades big. They are higher than the Dragonfire Potion already. So already things are starting to get a little bit questionable.
Yeah, they're getting to the size where they can just trade into minions as well, 1-for-1. This is what I was talking about earlier, where you can just start removing threats.
And if you are worried, for that sentence that you just said, if you forget about Lich King, if you leave him on the board, he can be a bit annoying. Is there any world where you Spellbreaker this?
I think you save that for other things. You don't quite know the makeup. You've got a good idea what's in here, but you can get rid of this nice and easy, just get rid of it. If you're running Greensheep out of threats, you don't even need to hit him in the face ever. You can just use things to trade for the whole game.
Ooh,
that's painful.
That is extremely painful. Greensheep wasn't happy about it either. Not surprised, because despite such a great start, he's slowly throwing this one away. And I say he's throwing this one away. It's not exactly his fault. I don't think there's anything else he could have done. The game is throwing it away for him. That's what you get when you play this deck, though. It's risk and reward, right?
Whoa, that's what you get, son.
You deserve it for playing a high roll deck.
But he got the Barnes, he got Asura from the Barnes, he got stuff from the Asura that he could use, and he's still in a bad position, and we've got to give Dan the credit here for seeing how to go about this.
Yep, Dan has done very well to keep in it. He is very much thrown Greensheep in the back seat, and now he's driving the car. Greensheep may as well be in the boot at this point.
Wow. That's harsh.
Harsh but true.
Greensheep has some time. He's still got those double greater healing potions, but next turn, things start getting a bit fruity.
Well, this is the thing. Now Dan can actually, with a second Jade Spirit as well. This is a board you do not want to be staring at if you're a Priest fan. If you are a Priest fan,
give up now.
Just leave. I hate you.
I didn't like Priest even before it became a thing. In fact, now it's become a thing. I play it quite a lot.
More.
No. I play it quite a lot.
Because you have to.
Because I like people to hate me.
Yeah.
I can go out there and priest them.
Is that you like? Have you seen the new Thor film where the lady goes?
Have you thought it?
I have thought it a few times. Yeah. Where the lady goes up and she gets her energy from is it Asgard?
I haven't seen it. You have.
Either way, it doesn't really matter. You're like a man who just basically channels his energy off people's anger and hate.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's definitely not Asgard, is it? I don't even know what I'm thinking about anymore.
I haven't seen it since you last asked.
Okay. Are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
This is a long film. It's longer than 12 seconds, by the way.
I want to Google it now.
All right. Meanwhile, I'll concentrate on the game in hand. And is going rapidly away from Greensheep, but he's going to get a lot out of this Dragonfire Potion. And he's setting up some good Frostmourne stuff as well. Trying to generate some minions from the Frostmourne. He really needed that from the Lich King to give himself some more threats.
Yeah, I guess the Frostmourne was actually one of the better things he could have got from the Lich King in the end.
Yeah, definitely so. It's given him some extra threats in the game. But Dans just seems to have unlimited threats. He hasn't, but...
Well, we were saying that the Jades weren't that scary, but now actually they are. Finally, an Eternal Servitude in the hand for Greensheep. If he had got that earlier, after the Barns, after the Shadow Essence, this probably would have been game over. But that's what he's been searching for this whole time.
Dan's looking to preserve this Jade Idol so he can shuffle it in and then draw 3 of them in one turn, assuming he has one of those cards left out of Ultimates and Nourishes. I'm sure he has.
You'd think so.
He doesn't seem to have had a hand that's overflowing for the entire game. That usually means there's at least one of those remaining. So he wants to play the Idol, but he won't. There's no point shuffling it because he wants to draw the card that draws the cards before shuffling. And so he's just going to set up this wide board and just... I was going to say distract Greensheep. It's a little bit more than a distraction. This is almost game ending.
Almost, but not quite because of these greater healing potions. And of course, Eternal Servitude can get a Obsidian statue back if it's there, which it isn't, but Yasharaj comes out. What can Yasharaj pull? It can pull another Yasharaj, because actually when Yasharaj died, it was only a 5/5 that was Shadow Essence.
So this could be a game-swinging turn, but it needs to be. She is pretty low on stuff.
Could also pull Ysera as well.
Yeah, because Ysera is also a 1/1 that was pulled.
17 damage available. Make that 22.
22. Greensheep's expecting to die here to combinations of stuff, like Swipe plus Hero Power. That's a big combination, a tricky, difficult one. It's one card.
Is there a way? So, if Dan is confident with his health total, there is a world where he could just send damage to face, use Spreading Plague as a little bit of a blockade.
Has he used both swipes? Because if he hasn't, he should probably just swipe one of the Yasharajas and trade into it if he misses swipe.
He doesn't have a swipe.
I can't.
Where's the swipe?
With the Wrath. So you Wrath for 1 on the Yasharaj, sorry.
Yeah.
Then if you draw the swipe, if there is one left, you've got lethal.
Death is eternal.
And if you don't, then you just trade into the 10/10. You've got rid of a tricky card. Did I say swipe?
You did say swipe.
That was really stupid of me.
You meant Wrath.
I know what I meant. You don't need to tell me what I meant, young man.
Sorry, Grandad.
So, getting himself enough stuff in the way here. But there's double silence. Chilling for Greensheep.
Shadow Reaper Anduin doesn't actually really help that much.
Doesn't help this turn.
No, but
it will help in the future.
Definitely.
So we might see like a bit of a lame turn here. He also doesn't want to use those silences until he's got the Shadow Reaper on the table, I wouldn't have thought.
Yeah, Greensheep being patient. There is, I mean, some... No.
Yeah, there was some justification. But
justification of maybe waiting, maybe playing the Anduin straight away, but I think...
Blowing up your own 10/10 just didn't seem good.
It did not seem very good at all. Now Dan's going to be drawing all those Jade Idols. Huh? You alright?
Yeah.
Just making weird noises?
Yeah, that's what I do.
Alright, okay. I'm going to get you into an old people's home soon. Someone needs to start taking care of you. Because it can't be me. Okay, it's not. It's a full-time job now, Neil.
Really?
Yes.
I'm sorry.
It's alright.
So what is going on?
Where am I? What's my name? What's this game we're playing?
Dan seemed to have this under control a few turns ago. But Greensheep did have slightly more threats left in his deck than we'd given credit for, I think. And Dan has also just not drawn the stuff he wants at all.
This game has gone back and forth more than your walking stick.
Sure. Not sure how that works, but yeah, I'll go with it. Alright, next turn is going to be a biggie for Dan, if he's alive. Which he is, easily.
Yeah, he is comfortably. You can play the Shadow Reaper Anduin if you want, just to get rid of the 5/5, but that doesn't feel great. Now, this is an instance where Skulking Geist would actually be pretty good. And when we were talking about earlier, the Skulking Geist being in Priest.
Yeah.
Actually, right now, it wouldn't be too bad.
It would be fairly good. When the games go long like this, it is really good.
So what is Greensheep searching for? He had the option of Dragonfire Potion previously.
Looks like he was searching for this death. Because there's fewer than 6 cards in his deck, and we just saw 4 different ones. And the chance of it not getting the one he was looking for is pretty small, so he must have got the one he wanted.
I don't know if he did, though.
He looked like he did, but he's looked kind of focused all game.
Yeah, I don't know.
So, Dans, what's he going to do? He's got to play them both, I think, but maybe he doesn't have to play them both. Maybe he just plays one. This is really tough for
You know
him.
you're expecting Anduin, right, at any second now. So you don't want to overcommit, but at the same time you want to get it on the board. 2? I guess just putting 1 is enough to actually prompt it.
It's really difficult because he's got no card draw left. What he really wants to do is set up a barrage of threats.
I used that one last week.
Damn it, I'm trying to look smug.
No, I liked it. But I used it in Lemon's game, so it's okay.
Fruity. So, can Dan's... It's such a tough decision for him.
The thing is, if you play 2 now and you're expecting Anduin, then how do you...
He should dodge the Anduin because he saw Greensheep play 3 Shadow Visions last turn.
Yes.
So he knows the deck is full of spells. So he knows Anduin is in the hand. Otherwise, why would Greensheep keep playing Shadow Visions if he hadn't already seen what he's going for? There must be at least 4 spells in there to keep casting it, which means that Anduin's in the hand. So he could have, at a reach, a really big reach, we're talking the best players in the country here, possibly have dodged this.
There's another Shadow Visions if Greensheep wants to search for whatever he was searching for last time, if he wasn't searching for the death. But...
Or maybe Dan just feels this is okay. Maybe he feels that, okay, play your Anduin, I can still race you with my next Jade.
So now you do Anduin, I mean, without question, otherwise you just die. So you have to. Do you start pumping some damage to face as well?
I mean, you've got to, or you're never going to kill him.
Yeah.
Saying that really patronisingly, but yeah, you've got to kill the guy.
This is Big Priest, right? It's not Kazaka's Priest. You're not going to get a Raza in. Right. You're not going to be able to just do endless amounts of damage turn after turn.
He might be able to do some sort of Shadow Visions trickery, but
even that,
pew pew.
Basically a Hunter hero power. At this point, it needs to be going towards face.
This Nightmare might actually work wonders. It's basically 7 damage for 2 mana.
Yep.
Kind of, if you count the hero power in.
Greensheep needs a way to... this is the thing, though. Dan, at some point, is going to shuffle back in, right, and have endless Jades. Greensheep needs a way to win the game.
I don't think he's got one.
Shadow Visions search for what?
2 damage. I mean, it's just Shadow Visions to try and get Shadow Visions into Shadow Visions and do some
Eternal
damage.
Servitude.
All right. So he was looking... Where was that?
I'm guessing he was looking for that. He got the same 3 both times, and that was where he shook his head.
It's crazy.
So what can he bring? I mean, he's going to get a choice, so he doesn't have a choice of all 6. He's only going to get the 3. Yasharaj is there. Can Yasharaj still bring anything out? Ysera is there.
Yeah. It's 10 damage. It buys him a turn.
Now, this game is a lot closer than we thought it was going to be from the start, especially when we saw Barnes being the first.
But here's the thing. How does Greensheep's hero power race Dan's? When it comes down to that part of it, they've both got similar amounts of cards left. How does Greensheep, except it doesn't matter because Dan just cycles his if he wants to, which he should.
Dan cycles his Jades now, really.
Yeah, next turn.
Next turn.
But yeah, and his hero power just gains 3 and Greensheep's does 2. And Greensheep is not getting 27 through with this lot. So Dan is going to take this game 1, which started about 3 weeks ago.
Now this is... I think Greensheep knows because he had a little shake of the head last turn when it happened. But he's going to certainly be considering how he can potentially stay in this. Hero power plus Dragonfire plus hero power does 10. So he can certainly get rid of this whole board. And then Dan
that's the question. And then
Dan shuffles.
And
Greensheep gets one more turn.
I think he's thinking, do I Nightmare now?
That's
but
a
he's
weird
got to
noise,
kill
isn't
one of these things. How does he ever get 27 through? Plus at least sort of 6 or 9 more.
Shadows grow short.
Maybe his last card is Marrying the Fox. It's not, though, because we've seen Yashiraj. But I wanted an excuse for Marrying the Fox to be played today.
Yeah.
That would have been it. Imagine how much treasure you could get if you played Marrying in this deck.
He is just pushing that damage straight to face right now.
I'm out of cards.
Yeah. It's the only thing that really made sense, but...
Is there, like, I still don't think he can get the damage in.
As long as Dan just remembers to gain 3 health a turn, and doesn't try and do anything tricky like launch face at any point, he is just going to run Greensheep out of threats. And you didn't believe me.
I didn't say I didn't believe you.
You had a very disbelieving look on your face.
That's just at you whenever
Check
you
the
say
rods.
anything.
Oh.
I just have disbelief about you. But eventually, the win is had, and it is down to Dan. That game was flipped on its head so many times that I lost count of who was in the driving seat, who was in the boot, who was in the back seat.
the
passenger seat.
boot thing was working well.
Yeah,
But you can
I can. Great.
So, yeah, Greensheep looked like he's getting out in front, got the early Barnes, got the early Ysera, and then Dan's went for the run you out of stuff strategy. Looked like he was getting there. Then Sheep had a bit of a comeback with Yashiraj doing some stuff. And Dan stuck to the plan. He just, no, I'm just going to keep killing your things. I will run you out of things. Jade Idol doing what Jade Idol does. No Geist in the deck. Done. Because you don't want to Barnes a Geist.
Is Dan. And that game would have been completely different if there was an Eternal Servitude. Yeah, we can confidently say that there would have been everything there.
Right.
All the pieces for the puzzle would have been completed by Greensheep, and they probably would have won that game. But credit to Dan for keeping it competitive throughout the entire game. He was very aware of where he needed to make trades, where he needed to keep spells back for bigger things, and eliminating the threats. So good stuff for Dan, as he's now left with Priest and Mage, whereas Greensheep, of course, still has his Druid, Paladin, and his Priest. Now, you keep calling him Dans.
I'm going to try and stop
Dan.
it. I know you want him to have the same name as you.
No, I don't know if I really want him to have the same name as me.
Dang.
Dang? Just I'm Dan G.
Yeah.
I'm not Dang WF.
Dang. Asking questions.
Ah, clever. I like that. I was going to do a series. You know, we had Munch on this last season.
Oh, yeah.
I was going to do Gaskin is Asking.
Ah, I didn't know this. You see, I'm just looking at Open the Way Gates. But yeah, I didn't know that. But I just straight up obviously have the same logo. And it is Big Druid. He's going for the Eliminate Rogue, one of the best 3 decks lineup. Paladin, Big Priest, Big Druid is that lineup. And Sheep has got the ramp that he needs to have a go here. But he's got to actually find a way to do damage quickly through a polymorph.
I mean, when Druid was so widely used on the ladder after Ultimate Infestation came out, one of the biggest ways to beat it was with Quest Mage.
Mm-hmm. This is going fast, though.
Well, there's not really much thought process at the moment for either player. Just play what you can because you don't have any others. And after the last game, they're probably feeling the effect and want to get this one
right, that last game did go quite a while. With a drag on a fire potion.
Aha. You're actually you're doing pretty well tonight.
Sneaking him in.
If I wasn't saving the banter for by the way, then the bell would have probably been rung a few more times.
Greensheep's big question here is what he wants to do when he gets to 10. Looks like it might be obvious, but he wants to play around Frost Nova Doomsayer. So Kun into Yashiraj, for instance, wouldn't necessarily be the best thing. If you get a dragon in his hand, he could go Kun into Deathwing Dragon Lord. So that'd be kind of entertaining.
And he does ramp up as well. He's just saying, I've got these 3 10-mana cards, I may as well just play it next turn. Seeing that it's Quest Mage as well, he knows he needs to start this damage ASAP.
There's no sap, I doubt.
I don't think
there's
so.
no rogues.
No.
And this is like solitaire up to this point. Next turn it changes. Greensheep actually has to start thinking. But both these players have just done what they want for these first 5 turns of Hearthstone, even though one of them looks like they're on turn 10.
So for Greensheep next then, do you Kun into Yashiraj?
I think this makes it easy. I think you can go Kun into Deathwing now. No, do it for Yashiraj. Okay. I quite like the Dragon Lord because then if there's Frost Nova Doomsayer, you get a Death Wing and you still slap the opponent silly. This way you are hoping they haven't got that to some extent.
King as well. And this is the thing, Quest Mage was very good against normal Druid, right?
Yeah.
But odds against big Druid is very different, especially when this happens. When you get the ramp and there are so many threats, there's only so long you can stall before the inevitable barrage to your face. I actually genuinely meant to say that.
Right.
I didn't mean to say it, and then I saw his name was Barrage, and I'm sorry. Yeah, once that damage starts coming through, you are going to get punished very quickly if you haven't drawn your wombo combo.
Dan's there saving his freeze effect, very important. Can afford to take damage all the way down to 1, as we know, so saving on those, nicely done. And now Greensheep does give himself that dragon protection policy.
Death Coil as well, that's perfect for Greensheep. It's another way that he can get past, well, he can put damage through in case he's frozen or in case his minions are frozen. Now the Cabalist's Tomb actually giving the Cone of Cold is pretty important for Dan to just buy him that extra bit of time, but how many tools does he have? Just the one. Only one Molten Reflection at the moment. Neither Sorcerer's Apprentice needs another Molten Reflection as well.
These 5 cards could be dragons, could be a Seer or something like that, just to help with that removal, because Dan's going to run out of freeze at some point. He's going to have to deal with the cards.
Unless Dan draws all of his tools to win the game like now, I just can't see how he's going to win.
Doesn't look good.
There's just constant threats that can come out from green. No. You looked at me like I'm a Dan fan.
You're a Dan.
Does that make me a Dan fan?
Of course.
Are you a fan of every Neil?
I don't know any Neils.
You don't know any Neils? I'm trying to think of a famous Neil now, but...
I was named after one. think things that happened many hundreds of years ago.
In the war?
Maybe. No, not that war. Anyway. Dan's actually thinking.
Is Neil Diamond, is that someone? Or am I making that up?
No, you're making it up.
Am I?
Yeah.
Which Dan's thinking? Me? Or Dan's...
I can't tell about Dan.
Woolly
Of course, he's busy memeing to a webcam that can't see him.
I'm going to actually think of things that begin with WF and try and work out what it's called. Or maybe it's SWF.
SWF.
Sure.
I mean, we're going to think of something and we're not going to be allowed to say it.
No,
There we go.
yeah.
Common theme about our casts. Meanwhile, Greensheep just settling for the 2 damage here from Alex Strage. I'm not sure I like that, again, just because of the Frost Nova Doomsayer thing. But hey, whatever, it's 2 more damage. He needs the damage.
And he's also managed to gain so much armor as well, Greensheep. So if it wasn't already looking like he was in favor here, were you shaking your head at me?
Yeah, because this combo can do 40 damage.
Yeah.
Infinite damage is a lot.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, like, the way that Dan is going to win this game at the moment is just by putting damage straight away and hoping that he's going to survive, because I don't think he's going to get a combo out. I don't think he's going to get there.
It's getting closer.
He's
got Antonidas, he's got the block. Yeah.
He's got neither Sorcerer's Apprentice.
He's got the reflection.
Need another Molten.
He's got a Novice. He's got 1 more freeze. I mean, I've seen this happen too many times to write him off here.
You think?
Haha. Haha.
How much armor is it you need before it is impossible?
It's not impossible, but the second you get to about 200, it gets really tricky. I've seen people fail at that point.
Yeah, he's not
Dog
there, is he?
famously won on stream that way.
He is not getting there.
It's a lot. I mean, I've
yeah.
managed to get to like 70 or 80, and people have killed me before the rope.
Yeah.
It's just like sad.
You are completely right, though. Armor is going to be pointless if Dan can get the quest done and get the tools, but it's getting there is the issue.
So he still has 2 dragons in hand.
My hand is too full.
Doesn't mind losing the plague.
I mean, you've got Ultimate Infestation and you've got Death Coil. That's 10 damage there. Of course, there's 1 block.
Yeah, you can just kill this as well if you want to.
Which I think you do, yeah.
Do you want another card or don't you? You're running out of cards. And your hand's been kind of full and awkward the whole game.
I don't think you want to draw cards, because if you are forced to use Ultimate Infestation a little bit later...
Yeah, you don't want to draw the game, even though that seems really...
Yeah.
No, Depends how much later, I guess.
Certainly possible.
But yeah, I don't think you lose anything by not cycling here. Sneaky point of damage to the face. Sneaky, you can't polymorph this lot. What are you going to do at 15-12? I'll tell you what you're going to do about it. You're going to either combo kill their face or you're going to die to it.
Death Grip. You can just take a Sorcerer's Apprentice away from him.
Ah.
Is that the only minions? So he's used one Novice Engineer. So Greensheep's 100% going to play that. Unless he's worried about any sort of secret counterspell or something like that. But he's just played them. You could even play a Nourish first if you're really worried about it. And then Death Grip, you're looking for Antonidas.
Meteor would have been... Sorry, just saying.
Yeah?
Yeah, Death Grip would be interesting. Just Meteor would have been so good if Greensheep hadn't played the anti-magic. Played around that card there.
And because why wouldn't you play it as well? Anti-magic was there to be played. Might as well plop it on.
Fair enough.
Okay, you can freeze something.
The Waygate is open, but the apprentices are not apprenticizing.
No, I think Greensheep has like a, maybe even like a 2 in 3 chance of stealing something. I'm trying to think of how many cards are even left.
So I was mocking you a little bit about the armor earlier because it was funny.
Yeah.
But there are situations where you can attack with your apprentices a couple of times, throw a couple of fireballs without full combo, and it can matter in that situation.
Cold Light Oracle isn't an apprentice. So Dan will take a deep sigh of relief that he still has the potential to win.
All right.
But you're right, in the event that he had drawn the apprentice then potentially your armor might come into play because your opponent's game plan will change
There's an apprentice.
Completely.
Remember, he's already got the Time Walk in hand, so he can do things quicker than usual. He doesn't have to have that turn where you mess around.
And is that stim as well, so he can, if he plays his Novice Engineer, he can guarantee himself a second apprentice here. Has the Molten Reflection, I don't know.
You just given up.
I've given up.
Gaskin's just given up. It's the new caster, please.
Yeah, get one in. I'm done.
Gaskin's just halfway through a cast, decided he's done.
It's just because this game looked like it was unlosable from Greensheep, and it just frustrates me. I hate Questmate.
Let it out, Dan. Let it out. It's not your fault. It's not your fault.
But it is a tough decision now for Dan because he needs to, of course, get this ice block down. And there's the second Sorcerer's Apprentice.
Yeah.
He's getting there. And you can get to that point where you just go for the emergency panic and draw and hope that you get it next turn from the Time Warp.
Yeah.
You're looking smug. And I don't like it, Neil.
I always look smug.
Yeah.
You've met me, right?
There's a lot of things you look, but I wouldn't say you always look smug. Okay, now you always look smug.
All right, let's see what happens next turn. But I've got a good idea.
How many cards are left?
Under 6. 6 or fewer. Apprentice Simulacrum. Reflection. Probably not in that order.
So is this possible? You play plus... I mean, do you just... You have to go for it now.
He didn't want that Doomsday, right? Now he's got
No.
issues.
But I think you go for it, you play it, and then you hope you draw next turn? Or are you already there? I mean, I'm so lost.
Without the Doomsday, the Doomsday's confused me now, because I don't know how Simulacrum works. I think it's random, isn't it?
Has he not just got it here?
Now he's got it. Yeah.
Because of the sim? I mean, I've royally ballsed this one up.
Yeah, you have.
And I'll happily admit that.
I was not sure if Doomsday had a 50-50 being copied or not there. I admit not knowing the mechanic.
Yeah, that was the worry. But now this should be it, right?
Yeah.
You can just play unlimited fireballs, and you can enjoy life.
So I certainly can.
The sim was actually the big important card.
Hello.
Yeah, the Doomsayer coming into it was the confusing aspect. But the armor isn't going to matter, and Dan is going to go 2-0 up. And it looks like Greensheep's just going to allow it to happen. No, okay, he does concede, thankfully.
He can't stand any more of Dan's or Dan apostrophe SBMing.
So, I mean, it's confused me as well, but the Doomsayer with the... Was there a 50-50
I don't know.
there?
I think it's 50-50, but Dan's played it really quickly, maybe thinking that's his only chance anyway.
It copies your lowest value menu in your hand.
Right.
So that could have been either Doomsayer... Oh, no, because the sources... No, yeah, it could have been either.
Yeah.
So it was a 50-50, right?
I believe so.
Either way, I got lost, and I will admit that. But it was still a fantastic, blooming game of Hearthstone to watch as Dan goes 2-0 up now, and now we'll move on to Priest. And Greensheep is going to try his best with his third deck. He's switched deck every single time.
Interesting. So, Murloc Paladin's supposed to be a decent favour against Priest. I'm not so sure. Probably played a lot of Priest. It's one of those where the one you play is the one you think's favoured.
I think if you can get the nuts start with Paladin, then the Priest just can't keep up. Providing the Priest doesn't have that early removal. Northshire Cleric definitely helps because it emits some of the damage.
Right.
Blocks some of the damage, sorry.
Cheeky Cabal Shadow Priest here from Dan. Not necessarily played very often. Interesting to see how that pans out for him.
Yeah, I mean, that goes back to the same conversation we had earlier about Priest just being so interchangeable and you can change whatever cards you want and put anything in there nowadays. I mean, there was a Skulking Geist. We've seen that before. Instead, run a Cabal Shadow Priest. Seems fine. And there's the Holy Smite as well.
Yeah, Dan's got a decision to make here whether he thinks he can get away with leaving this lot here for one more turn. I don't think he can. Like, you want to bump in the Cleric and heal it, but when you do that, yeah, you get a handful of cards that you die with.
I think he's going to do that, though.
You don't want to die with a handful of cards. It's a criminal offence, especially when your hand is full of good stuff already. What are you looking for here? What extra card do you need? I know it's nice to have extra cards as Priest for your combo, but what do you actually want that helps you now in this game?
Shadow Word Horror, if you run in it.
Sure.
Could help a little bit. But he's opting to do both, and he's coining out.
Interesting.
It looked a bit weird because the fact you have Kazakus on 4,
right.
Raza on 5, so it's odd, but Dan felt the card draw was necessary.
So, he's cleared up the board, he's taken control of the game, but to do so, he's basically sacrificed a turn because of giving up the coin means the Kazakus won't come down early. You don't have to take a 5, you can take a 1 from Kazakus against Murlocs. Wipe out a lot of those. So the next 2 turns, or next turn plus Dan's next turn, are what Dan has sacrificed. What can Greensheep do with those turns? And the answer looks to be quite a bit.
What would Greensheep do? WW... What is it? There was that meme, it's like, what would Jesus do? But it's actually like, what would Greensheep do?
Right. Was it funny?
I need you around, like, more often just to like, bring down my self-confidence and self-esteem.
You're quite a confident kind of guy.
Yeah,
it's like,
someone
it needs to be wrecked just every now and again.
It does. Yeah, it does. I'm just... Yeah, I'll let you do this. Carry on, Neil. Carry on.
Okay, so Dan took some cards there.
You're trying to do my job. Just saying the obvious.
So, yeah, just stating exactly what the other guy just said.
No, I mean, this is... It's not gone out of control for Dan. Certainly, it is a little bit scary when you are the Priest and you are forced to do things like use the coin early. But he's got the Shadow Word Pain, he's got Kazakus still. He's got the Kazakus Potion still.
Taking Divine Shield's a good way of playing around Kazakus Potions. Most of them involve blowing things up in one go.
Which we may see the Shadow Word Horror used instead.
These are the games that you have to analyse again after they're played, because that whole turn on turn 2 got rid of a lot of stuff. It's easy to say he's in a bad spot now, but if he hadn't got rid of a lot of stuff, he'd have been in a bad spot then as well.
Yes.
So it's very easy to look back and say, well, maybe he shouldn't have, but those are the ones we have to go back and analyse and sort of plot through what would have happened later. But for now, you've got to work out how on earth do I not die to this onslaught of raging fishmen.
And actually, those are the kind of things I'd like to see more in general Hearthstone events. Like, not just Premiership ones, but, for example, all Hearthstone events, I'd like to see an actual analyst desk that can then go back and look at these plays with replays. It doesn't happen enough. It does happen sometimes, and it's happening more.
Yeah, the finals here at the ESL Premiership had board control doing that, and that was really good innovation, I thought.
Yep.
Not just saying that because I'm sat here and I like
Floyd,
it was actually really good. Went down really well.
But we've seen it a little bit at HCT stuff as well, where in between series we're seeing like still images
like
of a
flashbacks
play.
talk about. If I want to look at that turn again and have a look at what could have been different, but it's too hard to reconstruct in hindsight whilst looking at the current and the future.
I'm also being told that there is a meaning for SWF.
Okay.
It means Super Wolves fan, as in he is a fan of Wolves Football Club.
Wolverhampton?
Yes, Wolverhampton. So it's Dan, Super Wolves fan. What a cool name.
That's fantastic. So,
There you are.
I don't even know how to respond to how old he must have been when he thought that up,
Probably about 12.
by the way. Right, so Dan has managed to get control of this situation. Again, he made that decision that's put him in this position.
You say control. He's managed to... is he in control? I guess
I think when he plays this shield on his cleric, things start to really chill.
Yeah.
Obviously, Sunkeeper Town will have a bit of a chat. But he's still on 22. Greensheep has 2 cards in hand. Dan has a handful of old-fashioned removal in Pint-Sized Summoner, Shadowed Horror, and Cabal Shadow Priest.
And Greensheep's running out of stuff. You're completely right. But I guess this Sunkeeper Tarim into, well, in combination with his Finja, is going to put some stuff on the board.
It is. There's going to be a lot of stuff on the board, and it's all going to get blown up a lot of the time by various methods.
And we have seen various methods throughout today. In Kazaka's Priest, we've seen Organized Soul Priest plus Circle of Healing, of course. That would do a lot of damage.
Wolves in the Premiership.
And he's a super Wolves fan. Not just any Wolves fan, super Wolves fan.
Wow. That's much better than the other Wolves fan.
Just a normal Wolves fan.
The other one. Maybe it stands for second Wolves fan.
There are other things that S could stand for, but, you know, we'll leave it at that. Dragonfire Potion is probably the obvious option. Is there a pint size option? No.
Yeah, he's going to blow this up with the Dragonfire and tell Greensheep he wants your 1 card plus secret to be really good right now.
Getaway Code only gets in the Tidecaller back. If that was a Taron back, wouldn't have been the end of the world, but hello, Tyrion, just turning up at the right moment.
Wow. I say wow. It's kind of, okay, sure.
It's an okay sure rather than wow.
Yeah. It's not a super Tyrion.
No. Second. It's not even the second Tyrion. It's
Not yet.
It's the first. It is from WoW though. And now
That's kind of how this game started.
it is. And we haven't really spoke about the new expansion either.
We mentioned the Fox.
We did, but we haven't mentioned Kobolds and Catacombs.
Kobolds and Catacombs.
Would you say Kobolds rather than Kobolds?
I would say Kobolds, but I don't know if that's correct.
I don't know. So Greensheep has built up a little bit of a board now. Actually, the 6 is quite annoying for Dan because of this pint size. He probably would have preferred it to be elsewhere.
He can take 6 a turn, though, as long as it doesn't get buffed. Because he's healing for 2 every turn. So he may be tempted to just... I see what you mean.
Yeah, that 6 is going to be annoying. A Shadow Reaper Anduin at any point would be nice for Dan.
Yeah, he's still got a lot of cards left, though.
He does. If Greensheep hadn't have drawn that Tyrion, then this could have been game over.
Yes.
If he was drawing small minion after small minion, then, yeah, you know, you're struggling a little bit.
I think he still needs like a Divine Favour or something to really get into this, which is a card that isn't typically seen, but it is a very Greensheep sort of card. And I like this from Dan. He's actually just decided, I'm just going to put a board up that's as good as yours. I don't need to blow it up. Cabal Shadow Priest doing a good job there.
Yeah, but it's not... I mean, usually if you're running Cabal Shadow Priest, you want to get it... What? You're right. Did we turn on the voice activator?
No, that was actually
then,
genuine voice. I wonder if he could have pint-sized and stolen the the Tide Caller. That's kind of the threat right now.
This was what I was...
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, this is what I was saying. It's just like, usually you want to use it in conjunction with the pint-sized potion to get something of a little bit more value. But you're completely right. Maybe he could have done that. But he's seeing the pint-sized plus Shadow Word Horror as too much of a valuable removal.
But is it?
Later.
What does it kill that Horror doesn't kill on its own?
This Tide Caller that he didn't steal.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
That's kind of where I was going with that, right?
I mean, maybe something a little bit later that comes onto the board.
You're dead,
Like
there is no
Mega
later.
Saw. But a Mega Saw might put something out of range.
I mean, there's definitely good reasons for holding on to him. I was just thinking maybe I was a bit hasty. All right, now he's facing another big board. He's going to have to do something about it. And now he does have that pint-size Horror that he saved. But again, the Horror would only kill the things that it would have killed anyway.
And still leaving the Tyrion on the board. Still that 6 damage coming to your face.
Which is kind of fine, because if you kill it, you take 5 anyway.
Yep.
From the Ashbringer, like 3 more turns. You're hoping to have found something more than this gunk that's currently cluttering up your hand in 3 turns' time.
And of course, playing Priest of the Feast first, so you get the extra health. Relatively easy and simple decision for Dan this turn.
Yeah, getting the bump in there as well. All very tasty for him.
And I mean, Greensheep rolls his eyes there, but surely he must have expected some form of removal. Oh.
Yeah, it's been a bit of a tough game for Greensheep. He won't roll his eyes at that one. No, down on that picture.
Bone Mare perfect. Keeps Tyrion alive, as well as allowing you to trade into this Priest of the Feast. If you want to do
you're
that.
Greensheep in this
I
situation.
mean, there is the option
just...
you can just jam it into face, or you can put the Bone Mare onto the 1/1 here.
It's such a difficult decision.
2 cards in hand from Dan, so you're saying, okay, maximum, he's going to have 3 cards next turn, so in theory he could get 9 health anyway, so I may as well just kill off this Priest of the Feast. That's my thinking behind it.
It's a toughie. Because how do you ever win if you... How are you going to do 30 damage if you're messing around with Priest? I get you. You're only doing like 1 damage if the Priest of the Feast just heals for 9. Yeah?
Yeah.
He thinks he can win. Actually, he probably doesn't.
Oh.
He doesn't now.
And then right on time, this is top deck after top deck. I was going to say it was going to be a battle of top decks, but
GG, I was the Anduin.
Greensheep's left wall has had a lot of dirty looks today. And by left wall, I mean it's probably his left monitor.
Yep. Well, he's going to have left his monitor in a minute because that's going to be 3-0.
You think that's it? You think that's game, set, and match, do you?
Yeah, yeah. That's GSM for SWF.
For a Super Wolves fan?
Super Wolves fan.
So he's got what? How much damage has Dan got next turn? 2, 7, 9, 11. Can't quite win it just yet, but he does have a binding heal, so he can just keep out of range. Potion of Madness, does that change that?
Possibly. Thanks.
2 plus Potion of Madness,
6
another 2.
plus 2 plus 2 is 10 plus 5 is 15.
Okay. But either way, it's looking pretty dire now for Greensheep. He was, and every game he's been so close as well. It's been painful taking this away from him. And this is the previous champion of last season.
Yeah.
Staring down a very rusty barrel at the moment to be eliminated from the competition, and it will be Dan who's going to move forward.
3-0 as well.
3-0 is a
how's
very
Jump Ray going to
play.
be feeling now? He's another ex-champion coming up in a minute who's got to face down another Barrage member. And if these guys are working together to take down these ex-champions, they're doing a good job of it.
They are. I mean, it makes a very good... I mean, it says a lot to your opponents that Dan will face in the future, right? I just 3-0'd the previous champion. So who he faces next to get to finals, potentially, they should be shaking in their boots.
Now, Greensheep thinks this is BM, but I think this is Dan being a little bit nervous.
Yeah, I think this is Dan saying, is there a way I could potentially lose this game?
And he's getting rid of all the minions just to make sure they can't be buffed, but they can roll a minion anyway if you're Greensheep, so whatever.
In any world, does Dan...
No.
Doing that line of play, does that lose him the game?
No, because he draws any card, he wins the game here. Unless he draws a 10-drop.
Shadow Visions, well, that will definitely do it. There we have it then. Dan is going to be moving forward. Greensheep, unfortunately, will be going home or staying home. He's still sat there. He loses in a very disappointing fashion for him, actually. Losing 3-0 is not going to be very nice.
Yeah, with a lineup that looked pretty good. You ban the Rogue, you bring this line up. He got the Barnes on 4 as well.
He did.
Got Ysera. Looked like he's going to win that first game. Didn't. Quest Mage was a bit of a spanner in the spokes. Whatever you want to do to spokes to make them not work.
Not just a spanner in the... I don't know.
I'd just mix some thingies.
Thingies and thingies.
And Dan is going to go to 2-2. Greensheep's eliminated, but Dan's not in the finals yet. He's still got to win a game either next week or the week after to get through. Next week, I believe.
He does. And this has been prolonged. I mean, Greensheep could have conceded here. We already knew he lost, right? But, you know, play it till you die. Dan, Dan just
and now,
himself.
yeah, Dan's just being the bad boy now.
It's just unnecessary, really.
I mean, we can't see his face.
No.
We can't see him having moments of glee.
It would be nice if he was on webcam. And then I'd be like, oh, you know, he's playing up to it, but no.
Yeah.
You know, he won't be on webcam next time as well, because he's just won. I mean, he wouldn't have been on webcam next time.
Yeah, if he'd lost, he definitely wouldn't have been on. So.
But there we have it. Finally, the game is put to bed as Greensheep will be eliminated from the competition. Dan moves on. Sad.